Peace talks between the government of Colombia and the National Liberation Army in the ELN resumed on Monday in Venezuela. Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel Bermúdez met with the Vice President of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, Dmitry Medvedev, in Moscow. Qatar 2022 World Cup sees its third day. Argentina was surprised by Saudi Arabia as part of the Group C of the tournament when the South American favorite lost 1-2 to the Saudi team. From the headquarters of TeleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South. I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada, and these are the news. In Venezuela, delegations from the government of Colombia and the National Liberation Army reinitiated peace talks on Monday. The parties expressed their gratitude for the willingness of the grantor countries to resume talks in a political manner between the Colombian government and the ELN, as demanded by the citizens of the rural regions.
Venezuela extends its full support and backing for all initiatives and actions leading to the longed-for total peace in Colombia, a policy established by the government of President Gustavo Petro Rego, and likewise extends the warmest welcome to the goodwill delegations of the governments of Cuba and the Kingdom of Norway, which together with Venezuela are participating as guarantor countries in the reconstruction of the negotiating tables. Venezuela, as host country of the first round of negotiations, will spare no effort to accompany this transcendental moment of the reconciliation process of our beloved Colombia, with the clear conscience that this is the way for Latin America and the Caribbean to consolidate themselves as zones of peace and prosperity.
The High Commissioner for Peace for the government of Colombia, Danilo Rueda, also highlighted the participation of various sectors on the country in the peace talks.
Here, in this scenario of dialogue, we're all going to participate. This is an inclusive process without any exclusions. There are retired military who have participated in the war, but there are also important sectors of the economy for the country. There are sectors of the environment. There are sectors especially of women. There are sectors especially of human rights.
In this context, the Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro Moros ratified his support for the peace talks between the National Liberation Army and the Colombian government.
Today in Caracas, the cradle of Simón Bolívar, the negotiating table for peace between the Colombian state of President Gustavo Petro's government and the National Liberation Army, ELN, was installed. They have sat down to negotiate a peace agreement, and from Venezuela we say with all our people, all the support of the people of Venezuela goes to the peace negotiations at this moment. These negotiations are a message of hope for a Latin America and Caribbean as a territory of peace.
And we move on to other topics. In Spain, the death of the renowned Cuban singer-songwriter Pablo Milanés was confirmed. Milanés died at the age of 77 after living in the Spanish capital since 2017 to receive a treatment for an oncohematological disease. Composer and guitarist Pablo Milanés Arias, was born on February 24, 1945 in Bayamo, Granma. After finishing his studies at the Municipal Conservatory of Havana, Milanés dedicated himself to perfecting composition, harmony, and guitar performance with important teachers. Among the most outstanding achievements of the artist stands out his participation in the foundation of the popular musical movement La Nueva Trova Cubana, together with Silvio Rodriguez and Noel Nicola. Milanés recorded his first album in 1969 and wrote over 400 songs during his musical career. Pablo Milanés leaves behind him a rich legacy in Cuban and Latin American music. Let's listen to one of Milanés' most iconic songs, performed alongside his daughter, Heidi Milanés.
Esto no puede ser no más que una canción. Quisiera fuera una declaración de amor romántica, sin reparar en formas tales que pongan freno a lo que siento a raudales. Te amo, te amo.
And we have more news coming up after a final short break, so stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. In Venezuela, student unions marched this Monday to celebrate the University Students' Day. In this context, the young people highlighted the victory achieved by the Venezuelan educational system during the last 23 years within the framework of the guarantee of free access to free and quality higher education. They also stated that the Bolivarian Revolution has placed the country with the largest enrollment in third-level education.
Today we have come to celebrate the Day of the University Student in commemoration of the fall of Marco Pérez Jiménez, because the university students took the streets to fight against the tyranny of that dictator. This is why we are here today, to commemorate those years.
We are here to celebrate the Day of the University Student, so that all students can reach their goals, so that the students are reflected throughout the territory for the welfare of the state, to produce and create awareness and unification at the national level, in this case in student life, for a better future, for a better Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, thanks to our Commander President Nicolás Maduro, with the project of our Commander Hugo Chávez Frías.
In Spain, the Guild of Physicians and Pediatricians of the Community of Madrid go on strike indefinitely in rejection of the conditions of the capital's health system. At least 400 doctors who are members of the Association of Doctors and Graduates of Madrid were summoned to the stoppage of activities. The professionals are demanding better salaries and especially greater investment in infrastructure, equipment and supplies, and claim that they currently have to work in unacceptable conditions. In addition to the stoppage, the doctors held a rally in front of the Primary Action Management in Madrid, where they denounced the fact that this locality has the lowest expenditure in the whole country in terms of health care. This Monday, the governments of China and Russia submitted a resolution to the United Nations Security Council to mitigate the humanitarian situation in North Korea and to promote dialogue with Pyongyang. The Chinese ambassador to the UN urged his peers to consider the joint initiative with Moscow as an alternative to ease the tensions in the region. The rapprochement proposal aims to create an atmosphere of dialogue in which the parties could make positive decisions, which may also improve the quality of life of the people of North Korea. Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel Bermúdez's international tour progresses. On Monday, the president met with the Vice President of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, Dmitry Medvedev. Both leaders agreed on the importance of relations between Havana and Moscow. Medvedev stressed that the round of consultations between Moscow and Havana showed the ties of friendship in the face of strong sanctions faced by both nations. Earlier, the Cuban president carried out a series of commemorative activities, visits and interviews, as well as meetings with politicians, businesspersons, and high-ranking officials. He also responded to President Putin's invitation to inaugurate the monument erected to the memory of the historical leader of the Cuban Revolution, Fidel Castro Ruz. The government of Norway has signed an agreement with the Reconstruction and Development European Bank, which states that Norway will finance the purchase of gas for Ukraine for the winter season. As reported by the Norwegian Ministry of Finance, the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development is working closely with Ukraine and has committed to provide a €3 billion financial package in 2022 to 2023 to help the Ukrainian economy. Ukrainian state-owned company Naftogaz will be the recipient of the gas. However, in practice, pre-approved European gas suppliers will receive payment for the volume of gas supplied directly on the bill. Jordan's King Abdullah on Monday welcomed Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani to Amman for talks. Al-Sudani was given an official reception ceremony at Marka Military Airport. The talks, which were held at Basman Palace, dealt with relations between the two countries and mechanisms for enhancing economic and political cooperation and completing joint projects between them. King Abdullah stressed the importance of continuing cooperation between the two countries and the tripartite cooperation with Egypt as a model for integration in the region. Abdullah and al-Sudani also discussed regional issues and crises, the Palestinian issue, in addition to the efforts exerted in tackling extremism. We'll take our final break, but first, remember you can follow us on TikTok account at TeleSUR English, in which you will be able to see news in different formats, news, updates, and more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back to From the South, and as part of the highlights of Qatar 2022 World Cup, there was a twist that no one saw coming. Argentina was surprised by Saudi Arabia as part of Group C of the tournament on Tuesday, when the South American favorite lost 1-2 to the Saudi team. In the Group C opener match, Argentina and Saudi Arabia met in a thrilling encounter from start to finish. The first half was entirely dominated by the Argentinian team. After 10 minutes, they won a penalty that Leo Messi turned into a goal. Later, Argentina fell in an advanced position. 2 goals were scored in this infraction without being added to the scoreboard. At halftime, the score was 1-0. Al-Sharishiri took advantage on a defensive lapse and tied the match at the start of the second half, and Al-Dawzari scored the second just 5 minutes later, unleashing the madness of these fans. On the second match day of the group, Argentina will face Mexico on Saturday, while Saudi Arabia will face Poland. Now we move on to other topics. On Monday, Qatar's national energy company Qatar Energy signed a contract with China's energy company Sinopec for the supply of liquefied natural gas to Beijing until 2050. In statements to the press, the general manager of the Qatari company, who's also Qatar's energy minister, Saad Al-Kabi, said the contract was an important milestone. According to the minister, the first sale and purchase agreement for the North Field East project stipulates 4 million tons over 27 years for China's Sinopec. In Ethiopia, more aid arrived on Monday, following the truce signed earlier this month, allowing the delivery of humanitarian aid to the war-torn northern region. 14 humanitarian aid trucks arrived, including several carrying badly needed fuel and food aid from the UN's World Food Programme to the Tigray region. The hospitals were yet to be receiving adequate medicine supplies. On the other hand, the ceasefire deal struck in South Africa with the backing of the African Union also calls for the restoration of services to Tigray, although the region still does not have access to internet, phone, and banking services. Several people were killed and injured early on Tuesday in a gas explosion located in a student housing block in Dohuk, within the Kurdish region of Iraq. Major Biwar Abdulaziz from the Dohuk Civil Defense Department said 4 people were killed, including a civil defense captain and a firefighter. 27 others were injured in the explosion from a bakery shop located in the building, resulting in a large blaze. Major Abdulaziz added that searching operations are continuing and the number of casualties may rise. In Mali, social organizations report that more than 150,000 children displaced by conflict do not have legal identity. According to the Norwegian Refugee Council, thousands of children are excluded from society when they should be receiving quality education, health, and food, and risk their rights being violated because they cannot prove their identities. The humanitarian organization pointed out that children have lost their birth certificates when they fled their homes or never obtained them because of the limited functioning of civil registry services in some areas. On a trip to Kinshasa this Monday, President of Kenya, William Ruto, said the East African community is committed to support the government of the Democratic People of the Congo. Kenya sends 900 troops to the DRC as part of a joint East African community force created to help restore security, with the first batch of soldiers arriving last week.
Under the East Africa community, to do whatever it takes to support His Excellency the President, to support the government of DRC and the people of DRC so that we can have peace in this country. It is in our interest, collectively and individually, that we have a peaceful region. We are committed.
Now we move on to other topics. In El Salvador, the Charrapastique volcano in San Miguel continues to generate explosions and emissions of gases and smoke, reason why the Civil Protection has prepared 26 shelters in the east of the country for any eventuality. According to civil protection, 62 explosions have been registered, accompanied by gas and ashes vapor expulsion with an average height of 500 meters. The entity placed a restriction of passage in a range of 3 kilometers around the volcano, with the objective of protecting the safety of the inhabitants of the zone. And just as the hearts of millions of fans live the emotions of the Qatar 2022 World Cup, TeleSUR joins this sporting event with From the Field, a show that brings news, analysis, reviews, and more to our audience. Don't miss it. Our show airs 1 p.m. local time in Caracas and 12 p.m. New York. Remember, From the Field, only on TeleSUR. And we have come to the end of this news brief. But remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, please join us on social media for all the latest news. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.